Hello. Back on the same sidewalk again with my bike. Here's first wheel again. You know, if you see the first wheel, you know. You haven't, because last time. Before I got pulled over on the street because I was this bike lane. You know, see it's the wrong way. Of course, so I can't ride on it, and as well as I don't have lights currently that are charged. They're on my bike, but they're not charged. So there's that. Anywho, back to me ranting about random shit. Or talking about random stuff. Make sure not to repeat whatever I said first video, but I thought of this one on the way. When I was at Sweet Home, you know, I was born in Lebanon because Sweet Home doesn't have a hospital, and you know that would suck because it's 16 miles to Lebanon to where you have to go to a Walmart. There's Brownsville, but that's farther. So technically your life depends on those 16 miles if you ever have to go to a hospital. Which again sucks. Sweet Home also has the main road, if you see on Google Maps. That main road just runs right by. Basically like a western town. There's one road in the middle and sides and a shop, and that's pretty much it. If you've been to Sweet Home, there's the stores you see on the main road don't look all western, but they're really, I think, though I was told by my mother that those are technically just to make it look and feel like the vibe, because of what Sweet Home was. And there is actually actual like old buildings, old western buildings that still are around. There are two of them. One is like a blue and purple one. The other one is a brown one. Oh, crumpled again. Those were technically, I was told those were really only two old western shops actually around on that main road of all these other shops. There's also an old western store that was converted into a house now, but it's near Foster Lake, near the little Foster Market or some shit. That's cool. Anyways, when I was in Sweet Home originally. It was all chaotic in Sweet Home. I had a somewhat not decent childhood. I assume lots of people don't. But for me, growing up in Sweet Home, growing up with my mother as a child, all that fun. I kind of felt like she held a deep grudge towards me for no reason, because she would, I would feel like terrorized me. Well, it's also a rule. I don't know if she came up to it or something, but for some reason, we suddenly had to start asking permission from my mother to use the bathroom. And in the household, there was only my mother and stuff. My dad, he actually lived in the same townhouse area. He just lived across from the little courtyard, and it was the best going over to his house because he's the one who introduced me and my brother to gaming consoles and stuff. The first gaming console I remember playing was the GameCube, and I think it was just some boxing game with Blackout Punch or something. I can't remember its name. And then also playing the Looney Tunes games, where it was technically like a PvP where you had to go around collecting guns and stuff and shooting at other people. Same goes for I think 007 GoldenEye. It was fun. Me and my brother would just go trying role playing shit, but you know, never worked out because I was a douchebag. Or shot him. Then he introduced us to the PlayStation, you know, and I loved it the first time I saw it. I got to play it. I was playing Lego games. He let us play Diablo 4. It was so good that we were playing Diablo 4 with our dad, and our stepmother. It was Crystal, and she was somewhat of a bitch. That's the kindest words I could say. She was a bitch. You know, as one of our punishments, she took away everything in our room and furniture, and leave us only the mattress, nothing else, no blankets, no nothing. And that was one of our punishments. The other one was, well, it was a thing we had to do to get permission, because we had a friend named Trevor who got this pool, and he was our neighbor. We wanted to go swim in it, but we had to take a nap first. And it was just in our bunk bed, nothing else. And again, it was just a bare mattress with nothing on it, no pillows, no blankets. And we were told to take a nap first. Well, I couldn't do that because, well, it sucked. I couldn't sleep because I was not tired. My brother, he slept and he got to play in the fucking pool. And, you know, I was pissed about that. Anyways, we went to this elementary called Foster Elementary, and it was not a foster school type thing. It was because in Sweet Home there's a sub-town, a little tiny sub-town called Foster, near Foster Lake. That's why it's also called Foster Lake. Went to Foster Elementary. It's cool. We had this janitor called Ed. Not a cool old guy. But sadly he passed away during when I was still going to school there. And what we did was, there's a stump that we placed at the front of the school that had Ed's name on it. And then we made also a bench where all the kids got to sign it, as well as me. But I think sadly they took that out, and the stump, as I last saw elementary this year. It kind of sucks. I made friends there. To me, they were friends. I don't know if I was friends to them, or I was just some annoying kid. Some shit, but their names were like Marshall, Casey, Brock. I technically wouldn't count myself. I don't think they would count me as a friend from them. I think I just hung out with someone they hung out with, so on and so forth. It was nice. Some good school year, some good, 6 years there, or how long I spent there. But looking at it now, I was pretty much an asshole who was doing anything I wanted. At some point, they gave me the short bus, and I thought it was like this special privilege they were granting me, where I got to go home early on the short bus. Yeah, looking at it now, it's not really a special privilege, more of an embarrassment. I technically was an embarrassment. Embarrassing myself. Said I was a slave to the school, some shit, because when I was supposed to be given my medicine for my ADHD, some shit, whatever it was called. I was acting out. I thought I was like, it was just because I was a kid. No, it was just because I was an asshole. You know, sneaking out of class. So I can go home early. The teacher I had, her name was Miss Brands Hawking. That's where I met most of my quote-unquote friends. Good, I think quote-unquote, because again, I don't know if we were actual friends. Or it was just them trying to be nice to me. Well, I'm pretty much have to work, so yeah, that's basically it. I only do these, make videos of these rants every time I'm going to work. I didn't make it for Wednesday or Thursday because I wasn't scheduled, and my work is based on the schedule. Like which shift do you work? Anyways, bye.